It's time to rev your engines. The Syracuse Nationals proudly presents the Cavalcade of Cars, March 22nd through 23rd at the New York State Fairgrounds. The two-day indoor car show features all the classics, plus lifted trucks, Jeeps, motorcycles, and more. Cavalcade of Cars, CNY.com.
Ours Today, broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7. I'm Jill Schumacher, joined by Andrew Watson and Patrick Scanlon. You know what? Syracuse basketball has a bigger game tonight against SMU.
Oh, bigger. And talk about a bigger spread. Syracuse is 12.5-point underdogs in the state of Texas tonight at Moody Coliseum. Initial thoughts on that one?
Well, pony up. You know how we feel about the pony.
Not tonight, Jill.
We did kind of go crazy. SMU football, different story. And I was kind of high on SMU basketball. Andy Enfield, he took Florida Gulf Coast in 2012 to a 15-seed win to the Sweet 16. But, since then, actually, he took SMU farther than I thought they would go. And I thought they were going to be pretty good. But even I wasn't sure about March Madness good.
They haven't been able to win the big game yet. But
0-5 in quad one. Can't get in the doesn't help your bubble resume with that.
And they'll have a quad 3 opportunity tonight
versus the Syracuse Orange.
Well, looking at this game, what is this matchup looking like? What does the Orange need to do to come out with the win on this one? I know I have my own answer, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Give your answer.
Yeah, if you
start off with you.
Thank you. We're switching it up today.
Yeah,
I get to start.
Totally up.
Oh, thank you guys so much. It means a lot. Okay, so as of now, I know we were talking about this earlier before the start of the show, but SMU is ranked within the top 3 in scoring offense in the ACC. I'm not really more concerned about the ranking on that. Where my concern lies is in the fact that they're people who are scoring on their team. It's spread across the board. Yeah, you can look at specific players like Chuck Harris and Matt Cross, but the reality of the situation is that in comparison to Syracuse is relying on obviously J.J. Starling and Eddie Lampkin, and it's just not as many opportunities, if you will. So.
Yeah, Syracuse tonight, I think they have probably the biggest chance to win a road game than they had in quite a long time, especially this season.
What about Virginia Tech?
I think that one was just one of those games where,
they were up.
That was kind of a big game to make the tournament. Now they're in the tournament, in the ACC tournament.
Yeah,
but it's
that's specified.
Yeah, I think it's. I think that tonight they'll be okay in that one. It really depends for me whether Boopy Miller's playing or not, because he did not play and he's missed 5 games in a row.
That's a leading story, too.
I looked it up, tried to find if he was playing. I have no idea, to be completely honest. Game time decision.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough.
Well, SMU is also, you talked about how well they score the ball, 25th in points per game in the country, score over 81.7, and then they just let it up from beyond the arc, 38.4%. That's top 15% in the country. And they also SMU does really well when they play not, super quality opponents. Like when they're playing Duke, they're losing by 27. They're playing North Carolina on the road, they're losing by 15. Playing Louisville, they're losing by 25. They're playing like Clemson, they're losing by 13. They don't do well when the lights are brightest, and that's kind of why they fell out of the bubble picture. They're 0-5 in quad 1, 5-3 in quad 2, but quad 3 and quad 4, 16-0 tonight at home. Quad 3 versus Syracuse, big spread. I think Syracuse is going to be in some trouble tonight. I think SMU might light it up from deep.
There's certain reasons why I think it's really going to come down to being a battle on the boards. The rebound situation for both of them is fairly even. So Syracuse is going to need to step up in a big way in that way, but also Eddie Lampkin is going to have to really put up some points. I'm talking like a 20-point plus game like he did against UNC and Miami.
Well, that's kind of Syracuse's one strong point, right, is rebounding. And if SMU is also a top 35 team in the country, or top 70 team in the country.
They lead the conference in rebounds per game.
We're like two teams behind them?
Yeah, we're third.
Yeah. So that's Syracuse's one real big strength, and then they do it also well. So you kind of have to find somewhere else to, if you're going to be stymied right there with both teams really doing well rebounding, you got to find a place to expose, and you really can't with Syracuse.
Yeah, you mentioned SMU's 3-point shooting, which is pretty good, but Syracuse struggles to defend the 3. They're 13th in the conference in opponent 3-point percentage. They're also 13th in the conference in 3-point shooting percentage, so they're very even, and they've really gotten away from shooting the 3. They put up 33 of them against Pitt, I believe. And then since then, it's been in the single digits or closer in the last 2 or 3 games. So if they can rely on the paint but also hit a couple shots, because you're not just going to beat SMU tonight by rebounding them because they have the ability to hit shots that you wouldn't expect them to make.
Like Virginia.
Yes. And that's why I'm wondering if Boopy Miller is going to be playing tonight because he's probably one of the most dynamic players in the ACC.
One of those fun names, too, Boopy Miller. Talk about fun name to say. Boopy. Boopy is good. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
It is
good
Who else is on the all-name team?
All-name team? I don't have a running list for that. We could make one, though.
Yeah. I'm thinking Boopy because Boopy's really fun to say. What else is like they got does Syracuse really have a fun guy to say? Like McLeod's kind of fun to say. Naheem McLeod's actually kind of fun name to say.
Yeah, but that doesn't compare to Boopy Miller.
Yeah, no, Boopy just like I just feel like I'm having a good time.
I think anyone with the last name Savage is always a solid take.
Shit, the Michigan State like club hockey player's name is Savage and his jersey's 21. So they're selling. It's the top selling jersey in like college hockey right now.
Yeah, he's doing well in the NIL.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Right
yeah,
now.
it's G-Fed said. Shout out G-Fed.
But looking forward into the ACC tournament. How are we thinking this game, win or loss, is going to truly impact Syracuse going into the tournament? Because as of right now, we're looking at a number 10 to number 15 matchup within the first round. So if we're going based off of how the spread is looking right now, it is Florida State versus Syracuse within the first round.
Yeah. I think they hold the tiebreaker over Cal. So they're at least the 14. But if they lose tonight, then that could fall away. But I don't even think you're worried about these next two games. For seeding for them,
they're going to get 15th or 14th.
It's just,
It's one of those things where all you're trying to do in the next two games, win or lose, is execute.
And avoid the one
find a way to find something that can maybe give you an NC State type momentum going into the tournament, because at this point you're not really fighting for seeds. If you're the 13th or the 15th or the 11th, it doesn't really matter at this point.
As long as you avoid Duke, that's really what you got to do on your side. But also you got to win a game, so you're not going to get to Duke unless you win 2 games.
Yeah. So for them, it's I don't think these next 2 games are really super must wins because if you bump up to the 10 seed, you still have to play a game on that first day. Right. So I don't think it matters.
Seed,
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily matters within a standing perspective, but more on like a preparation and morale perspective going into the tournament.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, even win or loss, you can still have good takeaways from those games. And a lot of that for me comes from if they're going to go on a run in the ACC tournament, they're going to have to hit some threes. And it's
which
not,
also requires shooting some threes. We don't do that
exactly.
anymore.
So they have to shoot some, which in this game, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go out and try some different things because let's be completely honest, it hasn't really been working to this point. But maybe you can find a player that's stepping up. I mean, Jaquan Carlos had a great game last night.
Yeah, and a crazy 3 to bring it over to him.
I
don't think he's ever made a shot like that in his life.
But now he has. And so if that's a guy that you can maybe take momentum from, it just depends on all these guys getting confidence because you can still lose this game tonight and be happy with how you played.
Oh, yeah.
Because SMU is a good squad.
Right.
No, I agree. And then going into the tournament itself, I mean, I think everyone expects Duke to win out this tournament within a certain situation. I have a sleeper that Louisville could maybe come out the back gate.
Well, I think here's the interesting thing. Duke has dominated the ACC, but if they lose to North Carolina and Louisville and Clemson both win their games, Duke will be the 3rd seed in the ACC. So something to monitor. Don't think it probably happened. North Carolina, not that great, but it is in Chapel Hill.
But also, North Carolina is looking for a win to get themselves
They are
into
the
tournament. If they beat Duke, then I say they're probably in. Well,
that's their marquee second quad.
Metrics would say maybe they're not in, but the committee will say they're in because let's be completely honest.
That means they're just getting right at the right time.
And they love UNC, and they will put them in, even if they're playing in Dayton 2 Wednesdays from now.
Speaking of Dayton, A10 sleeper, they could be back. Andrew,
we'll get there. We'll get there. But my sleeper in the ACC is not Louisville.
Okay, well, who is it?
It's Clemson.
Really?
Yeah, it's Clemson.
If we're saying sleeper though, here
okay. Let me give a different answer.
By sleeper, you mean
Don't say what I'm going to say.
Not top 3.
My
I
sleeper
think Clemson and Louisville have proven that they can compete with Duke.
Well, the thing is that Louisville, like a lot of them are injured right now, so unless they've come back and
those are your guys.
and fully healthy, we don't really know.
Okay. I have a new sleeper.
I have my sleeper also.
Okay. Nice.
3, 2, 1. Georgia Tech.
Stanford.
Whoa! All right. All I'm saying is
Maxime Reynaud is nasty though.
Dude, Stanford did have a road win at UNC. and they also beat us by a large margin. But I'm saying Georgia Tech has a road and home win versus Clemson and Louisville. And who else in the conference can say that? Not many people. So, and they're weird. Georgia Tech, they do this every year where they win the best games and they lose to the worst teams.
No, my reason for Stanford is if they win a game in the ACC tournament, now they're comfortable. They're going to be over here a little bit while longer. They won't have to do the half a week road trip or flight over to the East Coast to play 2 ACC games. This time they'll be there a couple days early, and then they'll have all that time to prepare. If they win a game, then they don't have a break in between on the East Coast. They play the next day, and then they play the next day. So I think if there's any team that could get
only
hot,
problem, though, the only road win in the ACC they have is at UNC.
Well, the good thing is it's a neutral court in the ACC.
I know, but it's just so far.
All right, join us on the other side of this break on ESPN 97.7 to talk more ACC basketball.
Syracuse basketball head coach.
That's crazy. Stanford only has one win east of the, in the original ACC on the road, and it was UNC.
You let them get comfortable over here.
Let them get comfortable.
Someone commented Boogie Fland.
That's a good name.
Who is that?
Who is that, though?
I think he was
Arkansas.
Boogie Fland.
I like that.
Yes,
wow, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Well, Supercat 610, we like your recommendation for Boogie Fland.
Boogie Fland.
Yeah, that's a great pickup. Let me look up craziest names in college basketball.
All-name team. Oh, here's the 2024-25 all-name team. Always Right, a guard for Rhode Island.
That's awesome.
That's a good one.
Po' Boy King, a guard for NC Central. Gob, a guard for Kansas City.
Supreme Cook.
Oh, Supreme Cook was a
How
Georgetown
could we
guy.
forget about Supreme
He's in
Cook?
Oregon now. Kai Yu, Center for Liberty. Do you know Kai Yu?
I actually saw him play as in sit on the bench.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes people sit on the bench, and that is okay.
And then Tennessee Rainwater.
And by some people, I mean me.
Tennessee Rainwater is a guard forward for Utah Tech. He's sporting a sweet mustache.
Oh, there was a second slide to that.
There was? Where?
There's a 3.
Oh my gosh,
scroll.
there's a ton. Tony.
Oh,
Jesse
Jizzle James. How can we forget Jizzle James?
You can't forget about Puff Johnson either.
Fat Brooks.
Fat Brooks for Michigan, a guard. Kuala Tak, forward, Oklahoma. Churchill Bounds. How could we forget Churchill Bounds? Wagner forward.
Snooky Washington
Snooky Wingington, guard for Ryder. Clyron Cornbeek, forward center for Kent State. Jizzle James for Cincinnati. I could have gotten that one. Oh, we got the
Wow.
what do we got? Solo ball is pretty sweet for UConn. Even I'll have to give UConn praise there. Legend Geeter, a Detroit Mercy forward.
How about George Washington who doesn't play for George Washington, but he's in the A-10
for the Spiders. He's the third. I thought there was a lot of more time between George Washington 1 and George Washington the third, but
I don't know.
1776. Oakland Fort, Northern Arizona guy.
Oakland Fort.
Matt McCool, Jimmy's dad. Forward for Marist. Jimmy McCool.
Matt McCool. Why is that?
Jimmy McCool.
All right, I fear that shouldn't be on the list.
But he's cool. He's cool. Townsend Triple.
I feel like I know like 10 athletes with the last name McCool.
Oh, that's too cool.
I don't.
Let's see if the comments have anything else. If Churchill Bounds doesn't have a Kentucky Derby NIL deal, it's a missed opportunity this year. That's true.
That is a great comment.
Solo ball as the season's assistant would be pretty fun. Yes, but it's not true. Zyterius Mortal, such a sleeper all-namer. Gob is good, though. Gob might be the best one. Oh,
that one is good.
Dan Smith, BYU.
Yeah, that's the Key and Peele skit. Snooky Wingington. Tony. How is George Washington III not at GW?
I know.
I want Gob and
Open face shot at the universe on the line. The march to the death be pointed out. You want to hit it? You better give me Gob.
Oh my goodness.
Puff Johnson is cool.
I like Puff Johnson.
I've made a huge mistake. Gob's parents.
Gob's parents are fine.
Thank you.
See, this guy was initially upset that
Flan.
Boogie Flan did not make it there, but Boogie Flan ain't no doubt. We are here to party.
Because we're going to talk about the A-Sun, right? We got to put the A-Sun in here.
Of course.
We'll talk some America East.
America East.
I love the A-Sun.
I love the America East. bring back their old logo. I do not like the new one.
Actually, it's true. I don't like the new America East logo.
It's not as nice.
It is absolutely massive on Binghamton's basketball court, though.
Huge.
I don't know. Anything I have is the old logo, thank God. The new one, actually, that's a lie. My senior year, it was the new one.
Oh, my goodness.
Such a shame.
Yeah,
Such a shame.
I guess so.
What happened to the conference I love?
Ruins everything.
What happened to the conference I love?
Thank you. What happened to us? Boogie Fland.
Boogie.
ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on
Do you want to bring that back up?
CuseSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Jill Schumacher here with Patrick Scanlon and Andrew Watson. We were just talking about the all-name team. Boogie Fland was one of them.
Boogie Fland was good. Federique for Texas Tech was also nominated. We also looked at Gob Gob.
Gob Gob was also the other one.
Kansas City player, the Kangaroos, Roll Roos.
Roll Roos.
Yeah, speaking of some mid-major basketball, Andrew, before we hit into the major.
Before we get into the real conferences.
We continue everybody's favorite conference of chaos, the A10, which you'll be covering in Washington, D.C., Andrew.
I will be there.
So who do you think wins that one?
Oh, man, I don't know.
The people's choice is VCU.
Yes, the people's choice. Everyone would say VCU.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There's a team down there in West Philly.
Oh, the Hawk.
The Hawk will never die. St. Joseph's is my sleeper to win the A10, but also don't forget about St. Bonaventure, just about 3 hours from here.
St. Bonnie.
Yeah.
They're also...
They're 14-1 at one point.
Yep.
Their men's lacrosse team just clinched against Lemoyne by 1 over the weekend.
Wow.
Oh.
There we go. Maybe it's very good things are you're heating up in Ole.
Things are heating up over there for the Bonnies.
Yes.
VCU, though, really dominant. They're 7th in the nation in scoring margin. Every game they win by average 16.1 points a game. They've won 10 of their 16 conference games by 15 or more. The A10 has 11 teams that are top 150 net, so that's pretty impressive. One stat to show you that VCU. I mean, it's gonna be tough if VCU can win, but what's your in the A10, the conference regular season winner doesn't always win.
Yeah, I believe it's 2 out of the last 10 years, or 2 out of the last 10 tournaments.
The regular season
champion has won it.
But VCU was the last one in 2022.
Yes, and then St. Bonaventure did it 2 years before that.
Okay.
So, it's chaos.
There's a lot
down
of chaos
there in the A10.
Well, speaking of regular season champs, I'm looking at the Big East tournament.
Let's look at it. Let's look at the Big East.
Personally, I think the regular season champs, St. John's, are going to win the tournament.
I don't disagree with you because St. John. Here's the thing: it's kind of unfair. You really haven't had to deal with it recently much because St. John's has been bad. But St. John's, the Big East tournament is in Madison Square Garden. St. John's home court is Madison Square Garden. They're 18-0 there this year. And all the games are played there. So the Johnnies have come out this year. They've moved all their games from the little place on campus. All of them now this season on the back end were at MSG. So they have a real leg up. And last year, for net purposes, they counted as a neutral site, or no, as a home game for St. John's, but they know they switched it to a neutral site. So they'll be playing in the Garden, but it'll count as a neutral site game. So, if you're a St. John's fan, you got to be happy. They changed that middle of the season. It was kind of weird.
Go to the game.
What are you doing? Go to the game.
It's a crazy take, but this is also the first time in 40 years that they've won the regular season.
Right. It is a fun time to be a St. John's fan. You can't really say that. I mean, they haven't won a tournament game since 1999. So if you're a St. John's fan, you're hoping for a little run. You also got to hope that in March Madness, defense does travel. So thank God they got a good defense because they just really cannot rely on the 3-point or the free throw percentage. They're really not great at any of those. But for a sleeper in the Big East, I do this every year, man, but I'm going to have to go with Villanova, man. Villanova
I was going to pick them.
The country's leading scorer in Eric Dixon. He dropped 31 in his last home game as a senior. Villanova each year in the new era, host Jay Wright has been a 6 seed, and they've survived that one game, but they always can't do it in the next one. If Villanova can be a top 5 seed, they'll get a single bye in the Big East tournament. So I think if they can get that done, they would have to play UConn, St. John's, and then either Marquette or Creighton. But this year, Villanova seems to do better against the big-time opponents. They've beaten St. John's at home. They've beaten UConn. They beat Marquette, and they've lost to Georgetown. They've nearly lost to Seton Hall in their last game. So I think if Villanova is that top 5 seed, they will shock the world and extend their coach for the disappointment of all Villanova fans around the world. But, it would be fun for the time being. NC State is looking at that problem right now. So maybe they should win these.
Do you have a sleeper?
I do. It was going to be Villanova, but after hearing that, I'm not taking them.
I have a different sleeper.
Oh, who is it?
It is UConn.
They're not a sleeper.
They are a sleeper because yes, they are. Yes, they are. Do you want to know why?
Please tell me why. The back-to-back national
Yes, the back-to-back national champs are my sleeper, and I have reasoning for it.
Okay.
They're not having a great year.
That's safe to say.
Which is completely safe to say.
Standards.
It's not even safe to say. It's just a fact. And I think that there's a chance and there is a world where UConn does what it does in the postseason.
They are 6-0 in the last 6 Big East tournament games. They lost to Marquette that other year, but they've won 5 of the last 6.
Remember that, Marquette?
I do remember that.
Actually, you probably do.
But no, I don't think you can look at a back-to-back
champ. I'm just saying.
Anyone in the Big East.
I'm just saying.
You can't pick Marquette, St. John's, or Creighton could maybe be a sleeper.
Creighton's not a sleeper.
I don't know. They lost their point guard, Pop Isaacs, and now they have.
I'm just saying. I'm saying UConn based on this
Frank
season
Cochran.
and this season alone.
Got it.
That is my decision.
I understand.
Okay, that's fine. You can say that.
understand.
But they also they haven't been dominating, but they've been winning games, except for some reason Seton Hall every year. But also, a team to look out for in the Big East is Xavier. Their team.
Let me talk about my sleeper.
Go.
No, you got it. I was going to take Xavier.
Right.
You got it.
No, X-Xavier. I'm sorry. The X-Men. Go.
No, you got it.
No.
You talk all about
All
it.
right,
No,
we're
you
going
can
to
talk
move to
about
the Big Ten.
He's going to say a sleeper.
tournament.
Let him say a sleeper.
No, we're going to move to the Big Ten. 'Cause
All right.
I'm going first to this.
What is yours in the Big Ten?
Mine's not even a sleeper. The team that is winning the Big Ten tournament this year is, drum roll, Maryland.
That's what I said.
The Crab Five.
That's what I have.
They are extremely talented. They had a shot to beat Michigan State, and
They
then
hit the
absolute
shot.
heartbreak in College Park.
3-point loss.
I think they're due. After that one, they've proven they can be in those games. They were unlucky to lose that one. Now they have every opportunity to beat every single one of these good teams in the top of the Big Ten. So give me the Crab Five to win.
The Crab
Big
5 is a
Ten.
sweet name.
All right, so I'm just going to
All-time
jump to
name
my
team.
sleeper then because that was my outright winner. My sleeper is going to be Michigan within the Big Ten.
Okay. I don't hate that.
Last 2 games were kind of close, but their closing season in the regular season is going to be very tough. They get Maryland at home, but then they have to go to Michigan State. That's not going to really affect anything within tournament reasoning for them for the Big Ten, but I think that they could surprise some people within the Big Ten tournament.
I think we need to go over what a sleeper is.
Yes. Okay.
I'm going not top 5.
Michigan is
top
second
5.
in.
No, they are not.
Michigan's second in the Big Ten and ranked 17th in the country.
But they lost a game recently.
No, but they
so
lost recently.
This is being the
Okay,
sleeper.
okay.
Well, then if we're gonna go on that train, my sleeper is gonna be the Fighting Illini. If you look at all the games besides the 50-point loss to Duke at MSG, if you look at the Big Ten games recently, I think John Rothstein said right when they're out, they pull me right back in. The Fighting Illini beat Michigan by 20 on the road. They beat Iowa by 20. They're kind of they have a fire under the butt after getting their whooped at MSG after a big time loss at Wisconsin also by 20. But they kept it close versus Michigan State for a little bit, and then they also that. Besides that stretch, I think Illinois has what it takes. They obviously don't have Terrence Shannon Jr. from last year. This is not going to be that kind of team. I don't think Elite 8 out of them, but I think
I want to change my answer.
I absolutely love them.
I changed my answer to Rutgers.
Oh, okay.
Oh God.
Okay.
That is a sleeper.
That is a sleeper. There
And
you
that's
go.
good reasoning because they have they're about to have 2 of the top 3 draft picks, but not make the tournament, which tells you a lot about Rutgers themselves. But
Happens. That does happen.
Brutal.
It's not hard. It's not easy to be great.
Do we want to move to right now what is considered the hardest conference within college basketball?
Yeah, let's do it.
The SEC?
It just means more in the SEC, and it just means they're going to get more teams, 13 teams, maybe even 14 if we go crazy here. If some team goes on to win the SEC tournament, that's not supposed to.
Yeah.
But
I think it'll bump one of them out.
I think
they will be the person who loses their bid from a bid stealer. So you look at like the A10. Let's say George Mason wins the A10, then probably you're going to lose an SEC team in the tournament. And if that happens more than once, you won't lose more than one.
What happened last year, where the bubble gets pushed all the way forward because of NC State winning their conference, because of the random teams winning their conference. Duquesne winning the A10. It's sorry. I just think. Can I guarantee something here? I don't think I'm going to guarantee that Auburn does not win the SEC championship.
Yeah, honestly, that's a pretty good take.
I think Florida's taken it.
You have to run the gauntlet down there in the biggest in the basketball conference now. They're not a football conference anymore. They're a basketball conference.
Sleeper down there though. I like Florida to win it all. I think Florida's proven a lot of times. They've only lost one home game, and it was at one point lost to Mizzou, and they had that weird Georgia game recently where they should have won, but they were also up 20 and they blew it after the comeback. But I think this tournament's in Nashville, so would it be crazy to say Vanderbilt can come in there? They've said some crazy big home games.
Mine too.
It makes sense, It just makes sense. Vanderbilt sleeper to win the SEC right now. They would be most likely favored as a 10 seed. And talk about sleeping. They're sleeping in Nashville.
Well, we will continue talking about some more SEC basketball at this break. This has been ESPN 97.7, and if you have any questions, leave it in the Twitch stream.
Thanks.
Do you want to know what happened?
I just lost all of my hearing when Jill started screaming about
they are
UConn.
Oh, it's UConn. Let me explain myself.
Well, do you want to know what happened with my Michigan?
Michigan. You don't have to explain.
You can explain.
No, I do have to explain myself. I had multiple teams listed, and I deleted the wrong name.
What'd you have there originally?
Rutgers, which is why I was like, I want to change my
Rutgers is good.
That's not a bad.
I don't hate Rutgers because they have the talent to do it.
I just don't think they have a chance. But
I think Ole Miss has that's my sleeper.
That's my most
Sean Padula.
Sean Padula.
I don't know. They had an early season win over Alabama and a late season upset over Kentucky.
Interesting.
Two teams that just do not know how to spell defense.
Oh, not even if you put it in
They don't know how to close.
Oh.
Well,
here's my problem. Rutgers lost to Seton Hall at home. That's pretty brutal.
Did they lose to Kennesaw State, or was that something?
Oh, no, sorry. They beat Seton Hall. They lost to Princeton by 1-1, though. Neutral court.
Cuse Gal just said, looking spiffy, Jill. Who is
Whoa,
Cuse Gal?
Cuse mixed it up. Cuse Gal.
Cuse Gal usually goes.
Wow.
Cuse Gal usually goes.
Yeah, Cuse Gal. I thought we had something special.
Shave the beard, Patrick.
But I guess
shave the beard.
It's time. Cuse Gal switching over to Jill.
Cuse Gal, we wanna know your true identity.
Yeah, we get you on the show. We'll talk.
You could be a guest if you want.
We'll talk March Madness. We'll talk some shop.
My sleeper to win the Big Ten should be Iowa. They're not even in the tournament.
They're going to miss the tournament. Also, another thing, Maryland lost at Washington. And they nearly lost to Villanova.
You can't look at those games. Like, you can't be like, oh, Stanford has these many losses on the road, because they have to go to here.
That's what I'm saying, is then they have to play the ACC tournament in Charlotte.
Yeah, and so then they don't just fly out there 1 day before the game.
They do 2-game road trips, though. 2-3 game road trips.
Yeah, but still.
Sean Padula.
I think they have a better chance.
We still do Big 12. We can do quick Big 12 quick.
Yeah, I think Big 12 is going to be.
We could
are we going to talk about the Ivy League?
No, we can keep going and then push down.
We can talk about Starch Madness just dropped the Big Sky Conference.
Or the NEC. Jill, who's your pick to win the NEC?
I'm taking my homeland.
That's a good pick.
The Sharks.
Long Island. Fins up. The Shark Tank.
I love the Sharks. I don't know.
Who is Cuse Gal?
What about the Patriot League?
The thing is, she knows all these teams. Like, because they're all in your your lacrosse. Adjacent.
I know them.
I know. So I'm saying, so you actually could pick a team here. This is
big.
Is he trying to say I don't know ball?
No, I'm saying you do know ball. I'm saying it's easy.
Crazy.
I'm saying you do know ball.
I'm going to go American.
Solo ball.
Wait, she's right. They lead the conference.
So does Bucknell.
Where'd you see
tied
that?
For the lead.
Where'd you see American lead the conference?
Colgate. Well, she just looked right here. Colgate is going to win the Patriot League.
No, Matt Langle.
I'm going
In
sleeper
DC?
Navy.
Whoa, that's a good one. Did you
one.
see that TikTok too?
That's a good
No.
TikTok.
Because I saw a TikTok where they said Navy was the sleeper in that
I said on
conference.
ESPN too.
Did you guys see Army baseball traveling in a huge hangar plane?
Yeah, I did see that. It's pretty sick.
Wait, what?
That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Andrew, what are your thoughts on McNeese State?
And then did you see Navy's new uniforms?
I did not.
Those were so cool. I'll show you. They're
Oh, yeah,
so
pull 'em up,
cool.
pull 'em up. No, I did not see.
Ludfo?
I do not believe.
You don't like the
in
McNeese State?
McNeese.
You don't like the McNeese State? You know.
I don't mind them. I just don't believe.
They're the new Jolly Rogers uniform.
Oh, so they have to be sick. Oh yeah. Those are sick.
You know, Rich shocked me yesterday when he told me that Utah was in the America the ASUN. That was strange.
Shout out whoever made these uniforms at Navy.
Navy baseball looking
Because
sweet.
these are
They're like
sick.
pirates. Ludfo?
Jolly Rogers, Fear the Bones.
7.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com.
I'm being listened.
Tomorrow's broadcasting stars
minute.
today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN 97.7. I'm Joel Schumacher here with Patrick Scanlon and Andrew Watson. We were still just talking about some college basketball and some sleepers. I still think Navy is the sleeper of that Patriot
the
League.
Patriot League. Well, it's usually Colgate's to dominate, but not this year. Kind of a rough stretch for the Raiders and Matt Langle's crew.
I still believe in Matt Langle's crew down there.
We think Matt Langle's one big tournament win away from getting a big-time job somewhere. But it just
Unless your boys over there at Villanova
needs
make a little bit of a run.
Oh, that he won't have
then-
anyone to coach.
Then
The
he'll just have one
Cats.
more year.
The Cats.
The Cats. But also a team Andrew and I got the pleasure of seeing that I don't care who they're playing in March, I will pick them to win a game, is Yale. They score
Yeah.
at least a point 54.4% of their possessions, and their offense statistically nearly is you could argue that they have a better offense than Alabama statistically. So if you look at a statistic and they're remotely close with Alabama, I think Yale. And the eye test definitely proved it too.
John Poulikitis is the truth.
John
He
Poulikitis.
He's one of those guys that will get in anybody's head.
Auburn.
Sitting on press
They beat
row.
Auburn. He was actually a big part of that Auburn win, John Poulikitis.
I know, that's why I said it.
I know. He was. He was there. I'm just saying he has experience beating upsetting teams, and they won't be as worse to see
John
this year.
Poulikitis.
Also a fun name to say.
Yeah, also, I mean, looking at the Big 12 tournament, too.
Oh.
Who you got, Joe?
I'm gonna go with Houston, and I don't think I really need to give
Yeah, it's not really
a
to say that.
explanation on that one. So that is mine.
Yeah, Kansas has really fallen off a cliff. It's the first time not being ranked since I think 2000, something like that. It's not a fun time in Lawrence, but also they're going to be a top 7 seed if they win one more game. They'll be right now they're like a 5 or a 6 seed. So I don't know. You never want to count out Bill Self's squad, championship pedigree, but it doesn't seem they kept it within 6 with Houston on the road. Gotta give them credit for that, but Kansas wins those games.
I think I have 2 sleepers in that conference. Obviously I love Houston to win it pretty easily, but.
Right.
I think Kansas can do it.
Yeah.
I think they can win it. They're 3-4 against ranked teams, which really isn't that bad considering they're 10-9 in the conference with a bunch of teams that aren't ranked.
Right.
But another one that has proven that they can beat good teams is West Virginia.
Yeah. What happened to them? Man, they start off the season hot.
I think they can get hot again, catch fire, and get through
West
the
Virginia
Big 12.
beat Gonzaga. Sorry, that's your top 8 team in the net right now.
Don't even get me started.
Beat Arizona as well. So they haven't strung together a win. They haven't had multiple consecutive. Here's the problem with West Virginia. They have these big wins, but they haven't won back-to-back games since January 4th. So that's tough.
Yeah.
My sleeper is the Horned Frogs.
Oh, TCU. Eddie Lampkin's former
Well,
stopper.
let's shout out their women's team. Their women's team just
Haley Van Lith.
you beat me to it. I wanted to shout out Haley Van Lith. Shout out Haley Van Lith.
All right, Jill can shout out Haley Van Lith.
Thank
She get credit
you.
for that one.
Gosh, damn it.
But Andrew, who do you have sleeping in their way into the Big 12 chip?
I already gave you my sleepers. Kansas and West Virginia.
Oh,
And my winner is Houston.
Can we count Kansas as a sleeper as a name?
Yeah, they're 10-9.
Like, could UNC
TCU
be a sleeper in the ACC?
TCU did upset BYU earlier within the season. I do have to say.
I always trust BYU in the tournament, and then they lose to like Duquesne. So I'm done with trusting BYU. They're done. I'm done with those guys. Can I pick? I think I kind of like Arizona. I kind of like.
I kind of like that.
Kind of getting on the love train here. I think they had a crazy stretch in January and February where they won all those games and they beat who's that buzzer beater against? That was against Iowa State, right?
Iowa State.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they had a crazy stretch where they won 6 straight, and the 4 of them were quad 1 games. They kind of been slipping recently, winning and losing. They have a game at Kansas to close the season out. I think win that game. I like them to win the Big 12 and maybe a sleeper. When I saw them in person, they were not so great, but recently they've kind of been a little better. UCF, let's go Knights.
A little better?
I mean, a little better. I mean, considering they lost 8 straight games and they've won 2 of their last 3, maybe not the worst thing in the world, but they lost by 51 when I saw them to Kansas. So
they're heating up.
So I think they're heating up at the right time.
They're getting there. All right. Now, it is March. Which also means it is lacrosse season.
Yes,
no one's
it
ever said
is.
that. But yes, lacrosse season is starting up. When's the championship? Then April?
It's in May.
Okay, so you sleep in June, I guess.
Yes, we sleep in June currently. But Syracuse men's lacrosse, I'm not even the picture of John Poulikitis.
He's good. He looks good there. I'm just a fan. All right, we were talking about lacrosse.
Lacrosse. We're moving on.
Yeah, lacrosse,
So,
big loss.
Personally, I'm not even looking at that Utah game right now as a representation of what's going on within this program. I mean, it's a much-needed win. Obviously, that doesn't need to be stated. But certain things seem to be falling short against top-tier opponents on multiple levels.
What types of things?
I never thought you would ask. Thank you.
We did not plan that.
No, we did not. What seems to be the issue is that within the first half, everything's going not necessarily as planned, but execution-wise, Syracuse is very on top of everything. Then we hit the second half, and then all of a sudden things start to go a little bit of awry. I mean, you look at this Harvard game going into half, it was 10-8, and even within the first, it was 6-3. Okay, so then you transition from Syracuse taking 20 shots on goal, all within the first, and then within the second, it gets cut in half -1. They take 9 shots on goal. And then also, turnovers double within the second half, so they're dominating on the face-off and in ground balls. It's just execution on these little things that seem to be falling off as it goes late in the game. You have to play a full 60 minutes.
I think when you start games on a 5-0 streak, do you think it's kind of a playing with your food type of mindset after that? Because, I mean, they seem to dominate early. And then it's
play with a what type of mindset?
Play with your food before you eat it. Because, I mean, when you're up 5-0 against Harvard, you kind of like, all right, Raps, it's up. We're 18-0 all time against them. Let's make it 19. Can't happen there. So do you think Syracuse kind of got – you think they – I mean, they've yet to play a full regulation amount of time, in control. It seems to be start hot and then coast. And that's at least what I'm taking.
I think there is also something to be said about the other team making adjustments. I mean, it's happened twice. You have a great first half against Maryland. You have a great first half against Harvard, and then you come out and you just don't look like the same team. Now, I don't know what goes on in the locker room, but they could be making adjustments too to try and break down that defense even more. And then Maryland comes out and Harvard comes out in just a completely different look. But I mean, you never really know. But I don't know which side it is. If Syracuse is making the wrong adjustments or if the teams that they're losing to are making the right adjustments.
I think it's the second one. I think the teams that they are losing to are making the right adjustments, and then things start to go a little bit frantic and maybe taking shots that you should not be taking. But then also you got to give a shout out to Harvard's goalie, Graham Stevens. He's a freshman. And if he didn't make that last save within, a minute 30 to go in the game, that
was
game,
a great save.
Game would have been tied. He had 13 saves. So you're also having goalies really play well in that second half, which is, I mean, you can't blame it on that. You're going to come across some great goalies as well. I mean, Maryland's goalie is also fantastic, Logan McNaney. So, I mean, those are two other factors as well.
Yeah. So, do you think Do you think they're coming out in the second half just a little too predictable to where the other teams are finding ways to break them down? Or do you think they're changing something and something's not working? I mean, what do you think it is?
I think it's not that they're not changing things or they are changing things. I think it's their foot is fully on the gas in the first half. And then second half comes out and they're up by what, like 3 or 4? And I'm not saying that they think that they could coast, but they're already up, and I think the foot gets a teeny bit off the gas, and then 1 or 2 mistakes happen, and then it snowballs.
Yeah, and momentum goes a long way when you're playing a great team.
Yes, especially in the sport of lacrosse when 3 goals don't really mean anything. That could happen within the span of a minute and a half.
We're thinking about Syracuse's depth now with the injury to Jackson Birtwhistle, so out for the season, redshirt senior. Syracuse now midfield looking a little, shallower than it has in you thought coming into the season. Do you think that'll affect them too much coming up?
Not necessarily, just because their attack is very depth. I mean, Syracuse's second line, I'm not saying it is, or third line is just as stellar as their first. Obviously, that's why it's tiered, but these people are coming in and scoring when they need to. I don't think that there's like one missing link within this team that would send it down a massive spiral. I mean, obviously, losing like Michael Leo, Joey Spallino, like that would be a big loss, and
right.
that's. But yeah, no, I don't see that being a particular issue.
Okay.
But yeah. So
I think face-off strength has been something I've seen. I think they tend to, do pretty well in the face-off. Do you think how quickly you attribute that to?
Well, that's also the other thing is that Syracuse won 22 face-offs against Harvard. So you're winning a majority of the face-offs. You have to be able to slow down and convert within that second half to seal the deal. But we will talk about that a little bit more on the other side of this break on ESPN 97.7.
Hey, this is former Syracuse basketball.
Thank you.
Awesome.
She heard that? I thought you were muted.
Well, I didn't hear. He cut out.
What?
Like when he was talking, I knew that's what happened when you guys both looked at me like this. I was like, what?
Have you said what is it thing? Like the little ad thing yet?
No, I was gonna say no.
Okay.
Oh,
I just couldn't remember.
Village.
I feel like I was too locked in on college basketball there for a while.
I felt that the first 2 segments were kind of too packed for me to take up even like 10 seconds to say that. So,
got it.
We have an ACC announcement. I'll say when we get back on air.
Okay.
Wow. Don't look it up.
I'm looking it up.
No, don't look it up. I want a genuine reaction from you.
AC. Okay, I won't then.
Boogie Flan.
Boogie Wonder Flame.
Really?
Say, hey, I'm on air. You should answer.
Yeah, you should answer.
No.
Oh, God.
Jake Lazarus, we are on air.
We're on air.
We're live.
He's usually in our live studio audience.
Welcome to the chat room.
I guess
we don't have a ton here.
We'll stick with 50. I mean, 51 was good, but we'll stay with 50 people. How you guys doing tonight? Good today. Good. You looking sharp in the orange. Yeah.
That Maryland Notre Dame game was pretty good.
Oh, that was awesome. That was so cool.
It was.
That UVA Hopkins game was pretty good too.
Oh yeah.
What's our shot against Hopkins coming up? It's our own game.
Pretty good. Way better than Maryland.
The thing is that with you get in within these top 15 matchups, I think it can be anyone's game. Depends who shows up that day.
Yeah, I think that Maryland has proven themselves to be the best team in the country. I don't even think it's very close.
I agree.
Yeah. So
which is impressive considering the talent that they lost.
Yeah, you play a team like that early on in the season, and you're like, oh, maybe they're not as good as they're supposed to be, and then they end up being much, much better.
Shout out to Jack McDonald, LSM on Maryland.
LSM?
Holding down the fort down for the Terps.
Oh, Terp.
Nice.
Turtle soup. The Crab 5.
I love the Crab 5.
The Crab 5. Crab 5. You guys gotta let me know if I don't hear it again.
Okay.
3, 2. Andrew, Dayton keeps climbing, man.
Funny.
All right, I think we have to go off on this tangent at some point along the way about Gonzaga being the 8th ranked team in the net, and they're going to be a 7 seed in the tournament. Hey, the NCAA, maybe something is wrong.
No, I think you'd be right in that assumption.
I think something might be wrong.
Look. Auburn's 1, they're 1 seed. Duke 2, they're 2 seed. They're 1 seed. Houston 3, they're a 1 or 2 seed.
We can
Florida
circle
4,
back to
1
that.
seed. 5, Tennessee 1 seed. 6, Alabama 1 seed. 7, Texas Tech 3 seed. 8, Gonzaga 7 seed. I don't know.
And wait, let me just let's go.
Iowa State. Iowa State's still up there.
bracketologists.
Oh,
That's where we got to go.
should we
The
say
West Coast Conference, the 9th best conference in college
In all the
basketball,
land.
has 4 teams, where if you played them on the road, it would be a quad.
Andrew, you want to hear the East Regional if we're hosted today?
I do.
1 seed Duke would play UConn or Vanderbilt the 8-9 game. Maryland at the 5, Arizona at the 4. In Providence would be UCLA at the 6, St. John's the 3. And then Kansas the 7 seed versus 10 VCU, and Florida the 2 versus Robert Morris.
That's the East Regional right now?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Drake is the 12, though. They could play Maryland.
Oh, no.
Auburn would play the winner of Creighton and Utah State in the 1-8-9.
That's a cake.
Boise State.
Oh, let's see. Where's
Bryant.
Bryant. Oh, versus Iowa State in the first round, 2:15 game.
North.
How do you already know what time it's at?
What? No.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Golly.
Golly.
Okay, yeah. Gonzaga is ranked the 8th team in the net right now.
And
St. Mary's is the 18th team. Santa Clara is 52nd. And San
you.
Francisco is 62nd.
And
Is like
Gonzaga's a 9 seed right now.
Gonzaga.
No.
Gonzaga.
in quad 1 and quad 2,
Seriously.
San Francisco is 4 and 8.
Still a pen from you. This is my pen now. Yale at 12.
ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Jill Schumacher here on 97.7. This hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village Cicero. Go to dvoffers.com for more info. Now, Patrick, you said you had an announcement for us.
We have breaking news at the desk. The ACC, Clemson, and Florida State announced today that all ongoing legal disputes have been resolved. With this resolution, Clemson and FSU will remain full members of the ACC, and the parties will dismiss all pending lawsuits in the states of Florida, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Initial thoughts. Yeah, you guys did it. Yay! Give it up. A round of applause for Clemson and FSU in the ACC for being big boys today and resolving their legal disputes. I'm feeling like, what do you think was said there that got them to they wanted more money, and they were like they're really not.
I have no idea how that would have.
The question is,
more
where do they wanna
information
go?
has to be put out soon.
Oh yeah.
But
As parts of the settlement, the members of the ACC have agreed to build upon the previously announced success initiatives. The new model will continue to support the entire membership with success initiatives. So the better you perform, the more money you'll get.
Oh.
Yeah.
interesting.
That I actually like
Interesting.
that. I like that.
I think FSU like that too. They're like, we're going to go to the SEC, and they're like, well, no.
And then they won 2 games,
Two
in
games.
football,
And
and suddenly I think they realized that maybe the ACC is the spot for them.
Yeah. Interesting. Success initiatives. There we go. Fun word, fun way to say we'll give you more money if you win games.
Now, we were talking about Gonzaga briefly as well.
Oh yeah.
You want to get into this?
Go ahead.
You explain what the
Okay,
net ranking is
so-
for those at home who don't know. Andrew.
So the net ranking is where you take the quads, if you've heard that before. So Patrick, you know the numbers better than I do.
Okay, so in 2019, they said, all right, we need to figure out a way. There's so many games in Division I basketball. There's 360 whatever
In
teams.
BC, they...
What? I don't know what they did in BC, but they know in AD, 2024 AD, 2026, 2025 AD.
Yep.
That's the year we're in right now. In 2019, they started the net ranking system. So it categorizes your wins and losses into 4 quadrants. Your best wins go in quad 1, or the best games you play, quad 1. So that's a top 75 road game or a top 30 home game. Quad 2, then in quad 3, quad 4, go all the way down. Quad 1 separates you pretty much. They look at your quad 1 wins, your best wins. That's what they check on the bubble resume. That's what they compare these teams that might make the tournament, might not. So it usually works. It's usually pretty solid sound. But there's one team that's being
Yes.
weird with the metrics this year.
There's one team that I am
Mad, actually.
Actually angry about them being ranked as high as they are, and it's Gonzaga. Okay, they are the 8th ranked team in the net right
That's
now.
pretty good. They must be like a top 2 seed.
You would think so. But Patrick, what seed are they projected to be right now?
In March, in Lenardi's most recent bracketology, they are a 9 seed headed to Wichita to play 8 Ole Miss.
Does nobody see a problem that the 8th best team in the country, according to the NCAA's metric to choose the NCAA tournament, has a 9 seed ranked in the top 10?
No, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think their problem with the net is they value blowout wins too much. Like Gonzaga has great. They beat Baylor by 38 in the season opener. They beat San Diego State by 30.
I think what it is.
Who cares?
Here's what it is they have losses to good teams. They have losses in
They have
quad
great
1
losses.
games.
They also have quad
UMass
2
Lowell.
losses.
Yes, that was not a loss
Yes,
for Gonzaga.
113 to 54 Gonzaga won.
They lost
You
to
kept it
West
close.
Virginia by single digits, who's top 50 in the net. Kentucky, who's 15th in the net, they lost by 1. They lost to UConn, who's 35th. They lost that game by 6. Then they lost to UCLA, who's ranked 26th right now, 62 to 65. And then you get to conference play. They have to finish in their last 3 games of the season. They were all quad 1 games.
And one of
They're
those home
14
games.
and 4
Oh,
in
yeah,
conference.
St. Mary's can be a quad win game. St. Mary's is a good team.
Yes, and I understand that one, and they lost that one. But at Santa Clara and at San Francisco, if you would have told me at the start of the year that that was a quad 1 game, I think I would have been very surprised. Santa Clara is a great team, don't get me wrong. But I think there might be something going on with the net rankings and the appropriate seeding. Pick something. I think that's where I want to go here. Pick something.
The way they game the system, the way Dan Hurley's actually come out and say that you do not avoid scheduling the quad 3. So that's like the pesky bad teams. Like if you play them on the road, things can get weird. If they play them at home, it depends. But UConn says we schedule quad 4 games and then we blow them out, and then that juices your net up because you want a team game you're supposed to win by 30 by 50.
Yeah,
so
but that's a massive
telling you, it makes no
problem
sense.
because
Yes.
then you're
It's called
having
gaming the system.
you're having teams trick like a system then and try to schedule their schedule in a way so that they do things like
Right.
that. And that doesn't make any sense.
It's because it's only year 6 of this thing, so people can game the system, people can figure it out, and it's definitely worked for UConn. I mean, especially the last 2 years. I mean, UConn has some rough loss, and not rough loss. I mean, they lost to Seton Hall, but they have such a good foundation because the way they schedule their games, they're not going to have too many bad losses in there unless it's like in conference play. So you can definitely game the system, but we haven't seen anything like this Gonzaga one though. That's ridiculous.
Having an 8 and 9 seed meet within the first round of the tournament is absolutely wild.
Yeah, as an 8, it's weird though with Gonzaga because that is it's sort of like the A-10 where it's like a between the mid majors kind of in between conference where they have some tournament success, and it's mainly because of them. It's kind of like a top heavy conference.
Yeah, I will never agree with the 8th ranked team. Either give them a 2 seed or they are not the 8th best team in the country. There is no point in between for me. So I think something's going wrong. You can game the system. I think it might be time to fix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, within the theme of college basketball, I have a very important question.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Jill Schumacher. All
Thank you.
court cases are real. All verdicts are final. This is Judge Jill. Boom, boom.
Okay, so my question for this week is which sleeper team will make a deep run into the tournament and why?
Ooh, that's a great.
Do you want to do sleeper as in like bubble? Are we talking? You want to talk that, Andrew?
Sleeper as in like mid-major that could make a run? So
sure.
not Power 5, like Cinderella type stuff.
No, Cinderella, like
And we
like
can't
St.
talk about
Peter's Cinderella.
Oh,
okay.
Oh,
That's
and
a
we've
little
seen
different.
some of those guys
We
in
have.
person.
There's one that comes to mind that I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, but they are really good.
They're really good.
But I'm not going to go with McNeese as my pick.
Oh, you don't like those guys, but it might be their time. So, Will Wade's squad is great. I've already talked about Yale and how much I love them, but I think they're going to be a 12 seed, 12, 13 seed. So 15 seed, I'm going to go with the team we like to watch. We saw them a couple times. It really felt like it. We've watched them. I'm going to go with the Bryant Bulldogs.
Okay.
They are at the America East. I think a 15 seed, if you want to find them upset, there's mine.
That's a great one. I think what I'm going to go with is a team that is absolutely breaking college basketball, the Drake Bulldogs.
I like Drake. That's a good one. Slowest team per possession in college basketball.
Yeah,
But
25-3. Their 3 losses come in quad 3, and they're 5-0 in quad 1 and quad 2 this season. So give me that.
All right. Well, I think I have my answer.
I didn't give you much stats there.
And I think this might be a little biased, but I'm going with Bryant.
Guys, let's go.
This is the first time Patrick has won in a while.
I needed that win.
Actually, UMass Lowell's going to be it. They're going to be the Cinderella.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Well, you have been listening to Newhouse Afternoon here on 97.7. Next hour, there will be the sports show with Cody Mack. Thank you for joining us.
This is Orange Nation.